Everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by SoundCloud Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Moses Missing, available on Amazon paperback and ebook. Coming soon, Missing 2, Double Expense, Double of Fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by a sweet psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 exquisite paintings and King David Psalms. Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. And also check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, 50 podcast platforms. Heard in over 100 countries. Follow on Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple, BitChute, and Rumble, and also on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more. We're here with a terrific lady who's an author, a former chef, and a conflict negotiator, rebuilding war zones to foster peaceful and prosperous communities. Also, a life coach, energy healer, and a self-help expert. And after years residing in the States, she decided to move to follow her dream of living in Europe. For numerous reasons, and also won numerous awards, has a new book out, a rom-com that proves love and logic don't always play the same game. It's called The Hockey Experiment. Live, ladies and gentlemen, the plus two is somewhere south of France. The amazing author, former chef, and conflict negotiator, and the author of the book, Hockey Experiment, the multi-talented Ava Miles. Ava, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning, good afternoon, bonjour, as they say here.
Well, it's great to have you on board, Ava. So you're an author and former chef, conflict negotiator, rebuilding war zones to foster peaceful and prosperous communities. You're also a life coach, energy healer, self-help expert. And after years residing in the United States, you decided to follow your dream of living in Europe, and you won numerous awards with your publications. You have a new book, which is a rom-com that proves love and logic don't always play the same rules and make you laugh and also cheer. And it's called The Hockey Experiment, especially what happened last night between Edmonton and Florida. Before getting all that, Ava, tell us how you first got started.
Sorry, say again, I couldn't hear
No,
you.
tell us how you first got started.
How I first got started in writing.
No, way back.
Way back.
For you, way back. Time machine, Sherman, way back.
Way back. All right, well, I'll go back then to how I got into international affairs. I was reading in Parade magazine one day about Jimmy Carter starting the Carter Center, and I was in high school at the time. And I just thought what a wonderful thing it was to go around the world and help communities that have been affected by conflict, that are affected by economic deprivation and other things. And I thought, I want to be a conflict negotiator. I want to help people solve their problems and make their communities better. And so no one really knew what to do with me because it's not exactly an obvious career path, especially for a girl from small town Midwest. So after going to university and then finding pretty much the right graduate school, which was Notre Dame University. Father Ted Hesburgh, who was a presidential medallion winner with Joan Kroc, Ray Kroc's former, or basically his wife before he passed on, major philanthropist. She had endowed that program with a conflict resolution program, and I was the only American admitted. They only usually did one American a year. And that pretty much helped sort of land me in understanding mediation, community, like discussions, reconciliation, high-level conflict, and then went into Washington and pretty much worked with some of the best organizations that do that before becoming an author.
That was interesting. You talk about being a chief negotiator and everything like that, or like a conflict. You had some high level ones. What was the most challenging conflict that you had to solve, and how'd you resolve it?
Well, I wouldn't say that I think conflict is not something that you always feel like you solve. I think you get people to a table. I worked quite a bit in Congo, for example, and that was a very challenging type of thing because you get people locally to come together to deal with issues like land repatriation, getting refugees that had been displaced, coming back to the communities where someone maybe had their home, maybe their home was no longer there, but they were on their land farming. And so working with local chiefs and the chieftain sort of aspects with also higher level national government to try to make that happen could be very, very challenging. But, you know, if you got like people to agree on what types of projects they wanted to do, who owned what basically at the time, and you could get that to start rolling. It made a huge difference in those communities until, of course, another conflict came along and burned the village, for example, you were working with.
Oh, wow.
very difficult. So anyway, but yeah, conflict is a losing, I think, aspect for everybody involved.
Right. And what was that one exact precise moment that simply influenced you during the rest of your career besides, you'll be influenced by Jimmy Carr? What was that one light bulb moment that simply said, this is what I'm gonna do?
It really was Jimmy Carter, to be fair. I really was. And the more I, sort of got into things, I thought it was just such a wonderful opportunity to be able to serve other people and be able to help in places that I just never, would have even imagined sort of being a part of. Although learning that human beings around the world want the same things. They want a safe place for their kids to go and grow up. They want a home. They want a job that's going to take care of their families, and they want to have opportunities and freedom. And I think that that was something that was a really nice thing to sort of understand that we're all the same in some respects too.
Right. And plus, you could also bring together food as well, too. It's like best way to solve a conflict. It's like, you bring food together, pizza, drink, and everything like that. Sometimes have a little donuts and coffee around, just start the camaraderie, which we have, and make things lighten up and everything like that. Well, speaking
Absolutely.
of conflict resolution, that you went for that to being a chef, and tell us about that transition.
Well, I was basically a chef. I was thinking about being a chef when I was in graduate school. I kind of landed a lovely gig. I became a chef in a Northern Italian restaurant to make money for school. And it ended up working out so well. I became a private chef. And so I was doing my master's, one of my masters, and it was very tempting. And so when I got to Washington, I was doing both catering as well as my other job, my international career job. And I decided in the end that I just felt like helping people overseas was more of a calling for me, and so I decided to not do that. Although I get to do it now with books, which is great. I have two cookbooks. I get to write about chefs and
Oh,
restaurants
wow.
and like Paris, and so I've been able to bring that back around in a really happy way.
And who are some of your favorite chefs?
Some of my favorite chefs. I liked Roberto Donna, Eric Ripert, of course. Those are like two great ones. I've been reading a book. I've just decided to teach myself the cuisine of Sichuan.
Oh,
So I'm reading
nice.
a book about Sichuan cuisine by a James Beard nominee named Fuchsia Dunlap. I'm always picking something up. It's a lot of fun.
Hmm. And also, how about ones growing up before you got involved in being a chef?
Oh gosh. Well, I probably grew up like looking at Marcel Desaulniers, who was the Death by Chocolate chef. I loved watching his
Oh, yeah, Death by Chocolate. That's one of my favorites.
way back in the day. Yeah, unfortunately, I never got down to his restaurant before it closed in Williamsburg, Virginia. But I love his other book, which is The Trellis, because that was his longtime standing restaurant. And The Frugal Gourmet was one, of course.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Julia Child, of course, was a
Julia
huge.
Child. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So you got to boil this, got to boil that. And he makes mistakes and makes fun of it, too.
Yeah, which is really nice and very un-French in some ways. So that's like also kind of nice because it made it much more approachable.
Hmm. And it does too. And of course, I remember who is it, Martin Yan with the Chinese chef. I loved him, and Anne Burrell, who I was just starting getting to know, but unfortunately, she passed away recently as well too. She was on Iron Chef, Bobby Flay, and everything like that. Anne Burrell, one of the better chefs, passing away recently.
Yeah, yeah. Food is a wonderful thing. The teachers are just always around, and it's wonderful to sort of see what their influence is. I just watched Yang Kun cook in actual Sichuan province in Shenggu, and I was like having a good harkening back to when I used to watch his show like a long, long time ago.
Hmm. And certainly does as well too with writing a couple of good cookbooks, and you being an author. We'll talk about some of your books like Country Heaven, the Paris Roommates, and your latest The Hockey Experiment. We'll get that with Ava Miles. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com. Powered by SoundCloud Studios. Visit online at SoundCloudStudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. SoundCloud Studios is the answer. SoundCloud Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1 800 303 3960. It's 1 800 303 3960, or email to support at sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, International Warring Author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, one target, where truth is illusion and those will be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson Zia has garnered great reviews, and evil evidence endorsed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassie, Forrest Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today. 4 Goes Missing by Mia Molson Zia, available on Amazon. Coming soon, Missing 2, Double Suspense, Double of Fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including theories, quiz of pains, and King David's Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist gives a new perspective of David to the Psalms he wrote as the time of shepherd started and complicate yet turbulent relationship with King Saul. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, hope, and more. Check out The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. Also, check out The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com. 50 podcast platforms, heard in over 110 countries. Take us with you on any mobile device. Follow us on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, and also on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, and other socials. And for t-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies, Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson Zia for great books like Missing, Wrinkles, great merchandise, and more. And support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. We have the amazing author, former chef and conflict negotiator, and Ava Miles here on the Mike Wagner Show. Before we talk about the hockey experiment, which by the way coincides with Florida winning the Stanley Cup for the second time, taking out Edmonton 4-2. And what a series that was! Since you love hockey experiment, how appropriate.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, my hero, Brock the Rock Thompson, actually was a huge Oilers fan. So, if he were a live person, he would have been very sad.
Right, yeah. And Connor McDavid was frustrated. Sam Reinhart scored 4 goals to win the whole thing. Sergei Bobrovsky, 28 saves. But I'm looking forward to another hockey season, which we'll get to that in a minute as well. You did Country Heaven, the Paris Roommates, and the Chocolate. Was it Chocolate Garden? All that. So tell us about those.
The Chocolate Garden. Well, the Chocolate Garden actually kicked off a gardening craze in the United States because people were reading about basically an abused and now divorced woman who wanted to start taking care of her kids because she'd left her husband, and she started a garden consulting company. And she wanted to create a chocolate garden for the hero in the book because he loved chocolate. And so all these chocolate plants that I got to research because I'm a huge gardener, and I had all these readers, and suddenly I had people who owned garden nurseries saying, I have all these readers coming with your book and saying, I want these plants and I don't have them, but we are ordering them. And we're so excited with this like enthusiasm. So it was a great thing. Had even somebody in South Africa create the first public chocolate garden because of my book. And that was like,
wow, amazing. Well, now,
yeah.
Was it like an actual cocoa plant? What type of chocolate was it?
Oh, it's actually a public garden that is populated by plants that have chocolate in them. Or not chocolate, but like chocolate scented plants. There's like chocolate scented orchids, chocolate scented daisies, chocolate sunflowers. There's like any number of like plants. Chocolate mint is of course a very common one. I even had a reader 2 weeks ago who said she was so excited to find chocolate mint because she loved the chocolate garden, but she wanted to know where she could get more. So yeah, so it's fun having the things that you love, having people respond to them.
I was more thinking of the cocoa beans that grow in South America and Brazil and everything like that. But chocolate mints having plants, I think that's good enough right there. I'm ready for some after this. So we had some of that, and plus you also had the Paris Roommates, and talk more about that one.
Sure, the Paris roommates. Well, I mean, I split my time between Provence and Paris, and so it's Paris has been a long time love affair for me. So it's been wonderful to bring basically my version of, like, I would say if it's Emily in Paris meets the TV show Friends. It's about 6 roommates who come back to help their host mother and the owner of a restaurant who falls upon difficult times, and they come back to help her basically save and resurrect her restaurant, and then basically reignite their lives, because they're all kind of hitting 30 and they're not really happy with how things are, and so they all find love in the city of love. No better place for it.
And of course, that leads us up to Country Heaven. Talk more about that.
Sure. Well, Country Heaven was kind of a sleeper for me. It was the first hero that I ever thought, gosh, I can't believe I'm going to write a hero like this, because he showed up just as a total wild boy country singer. But he'd been disowned by his family because he didn't want to practice law. He'd gotten discovered in a karaoke bar in Nashville. And anyway, the book really is about him hiring a down on her luck cook to be his cook on his tour. And
Oh,
so
wow.
she is writing a cookbook. And so in his point of view, there's songs before his chapter starts, and hers is recipes. And people absolutely went crazy for it. So that launched, I had suddenly had all these people saying they really wanted a cookbook. And so I put together those recipes, and then of course I put together ones that for my own family and for my own like sort of table. And that was such a joy. I've had chefs tell me I've outsold them, which is kind of funny when we've like sat down and talked about numbers.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. And plus, you also had some book series as well too, and you also won number awards and maybe some of the book series and a few of the books you would love to talk about, especially winning a number of awards on it.
Sure. Well, I mean, one I think my best moments, like within the last year, was having the Paris roommates featured in People magazine. That was something. Like being the kid who always was in the checkout stand at the grocery store and seeing People magazine and being like, oh, I was in People magazine. My book was in People magazine. That was a pretty great moment, I've got to say. So yeah, I mean, my books have been picked by editors, best books of the year, Country Heaven, Nora Roberts Land, for example. My first book was picked by USA Today as best book of the year. That was really great. And Barnes and Noble picked Beside Golden Irish Fields as like one of their favorite books of the year. So I've had a nice sprinkling of accolades by a lot of different groups, and my readers kind of say it best. They come back for more, and they love my books, and they reread them, which is to me the greatest compliment an author can get.
And plus, you also have an upcoming book called The Hockey Experiment, which talks about basically proving that love and logic don't always play the same rules. We'll find out more about that with Ava Miles. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by SoundCloud Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international warring out there, me and Muslims are missing. The Sweet Psalms by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 Squares of Pains and King David Psalms. Join the journey on the life of David through the Bible. Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Psalmist Reagan Wagner, Amazon.com, The Sweet Psalmist. We'll be back with multi-talent author Ava Miles of The Hockey Experiment after this timeout. We're back with author Ava Miles on the Mike Wagner Show with The Hockey Experiment, and this is a new book that came out as well too, just after broadcast that Edmonton lost to Florida in the Stanley Cup as Florida won back to back. This is it's not about hockey itself; it's a rom-com that proves love and logic don't always play by the same rules, and talks about a doctor basically on a mission to proving that once and for all, hockey players are modern-day cavemen, but one hockey player doesn't think so. Tell us more about that.
Well, it's a funny study because Dr. Valentina Hargrove is hired actually by her father, who owns a hockey team. He's a new owner, and he wants to motivate his team. And he thinks that this particular study, if they hit the skids, basically get to that place where they're not sure they're going to make the championship game. And so it's like, our hockey players modern cavemen, which actually has been studied, Mike. I mean, I couldn't believe it. There's wonderful like academic journals about this, and I had an absolute ball like looking at the research. So of course she goes in disguise to study this for this motivational strategy. And she thinks, of course, hockey players are fantastic. She used to be a figure skater, and she has great respect for athletes. But even better, she really thinks cavemen are awesome because not only did they hunt in packs and take down woolly mammoths, but they survived the Ice Age. And if you can do that, you can win the Stanley Cup. So
especially if you're in Florida, you don't need to live in really cold weather to do that. So
exactly. Yeah, there's no winter toughness down in Florida, that's for sure. Not like from North Dakota, for example, where you are, where I grew up in the Midwest.
right, yeah, and of course, it doesn't have to be like the pros, college as well too. University of North Dakota, they've won so many championships. Not too far behind Michigan, Boston College, and everything like that. They've always been tough. Grand Forks being very, very close to the Canadian border, about maybe like about 50 miles, 20 miles, something like that. But then you're about just a few hours away from Winnipeg, another hot hockey city.
I know, it's kind of amazing that they've got such an incredible franchise, isn't it? Especially being in the South. Usually that's football territory, right? The Hurricanes, like Florida State Seminoles, etc.
Right, the whole SEC, Georgia Bulldogs, Alabama, Auburn, everything like that. But also good baseball climate as well too. Like you have your pro teams down there, like a Tampa Bay, Miami, but then you got Atlanta Braves that really made it big too in all sports. Basketball somehow, Peachtree Street state and everything else. But with the hockey experiment as well too, that he's basically intelligent and everything else. And so I guess with hockey as well, that it all starts. I have to say is it just brings about. So what was that stipulation that she was trying to take down here? I was trying to get to that part. So
Oh, well, she was basically trying to go and give the coach and her dad some pieces that they could go and do after a huge loss. And so they had a 3-game loss. And suddenly the study kind of went awry. And I can't sort of say much more because of the spoilers that'll like give too much away. But basically, it's kind of a big brouhaha that the media gets a hold of. And of course, as we know, cavemen are considered ignoramuses, right? There's a lot of misinformation about cavemen. They did not go and hang out at the same time as dinosaurs, for example.
right, yeah, they never had sticks, never had rubber or anything like that. They had to be invented. And I don't know if they really invented sticks, rubber pucks, or anything like that. They're more concerned about fire and trying to survive and hunt for animals. That was their main thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, so yeah, so it's a funny thing about them doing their field studies, talking about male territorialism, about like why do men fight each other, how do men compete and win together, and so it's got a nice sort of like there's a big thing in like in romance, for example, the genre that this book is in, it's about women who actually are scientists and into technology and that type of thing. And so it's like nerdy, the nerdy sort of like meets hunk type of thing. But yeah, Brock is intelligent. He's a Harvard grad. He's got businesses. He's a family man, which readers have really like gone crazy over. I was a little surprised by that. I love to write about family situations, and I think it really personalizes people. But people have been just saying it's a very unique hockey player who is such a family kind of person, because he's invited his sister and his niece and nephew into his home during hockey season, which is proving for him to be a little challenging.
Right too, and of course that's remind me of Slapshot. I don't know if you remember seeing the movie. That was like back in the '70s. Paul Newman that did a Slapshot too a while back. That it was the same thing. The Charlestown Chiefs were really down and out, and then they had to do something to ignite the franchise, or they're threatened to sell. That seemed like along the lines of Slapshot. It made me think of it's like that was one of the best movies I saw with Slapshot. It was like same lines of Hockey Experiment.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't seen Slapshot. Mr. Alaska, though, I really enjoy. And of course, Miracle is a fabulous one. But I haven't seen Slapshot.
Well, that's something you can probably check out too sometime. And since we're on the subject, who are some of your favorite hockey players growing up?
Well, I would say Brock loves Wayne Gretzky because he didn't tape his stick just exactly like Wayne, which I thought was very intriguing. Very few players actually go without going and taping their stick, and it was like, this is kind of an intriguing one. I actually modeled Brock after Sidney Crosby because they consider him the nicest guy in hockey. And I thought that he presented sort of the type of person that I was looking for. I don't know him. I only know what the press says about him. So I would say it's a loose like sort of sense. But I wanted to have somebody who actually was known as a bang up kind of guy. And he certainly fits the bill. So
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah, and of course, they don't always play by the same rules, and I did find that out that you're right, they don't always play by the same rules, and of course, you wonder is why don't they play by the same rules like every other sport? Maybe you're going to probably present that.
oh, in terms of playing by the same rules, well, I think
Correct.
that
Yes.
there's one person on the team, for example, who really likes the Fight Club, and he's very motivated by his own ego and his own accolades, and he causes a lot of problems on the team because he gets them into a lot of penalty situations, and they have lost games because of penalty shots at sort of the last part of the game. So trying to figure out what to do with a very talented hockey player who's got a lot of off the ice issues is also sort of another piece. And he's a nice foil to the hero who, of course, is very team oriented, who lets his actions speak on the ice, and who really does want everyone to win and not just himself.
Right. Yeah. And what do you want readers to get from the book?
Well, I think I would like them to, have a really good time and enjoy it because it's a lot of laughs. I think we all need to feel good right now, and having entertainment that can go and make us laugh, but at the same time that can come and make us think. One of the things I really love about Dr. Valentina is that she starts to analyze why we fall in love, because she is so taken by like surprise that she is like attracted to this hockey player. It kind of came out of nowhere. And she's also a professional. She doesn't necessarily want it to mess up the study. And so her analysis that sort of starts to creep in about why humans fall in love with each other is, I think, really quite powerful. And I think it can help a lot of women understand that sort of heart versus logic brain sort of like thing that you go through, because it is a really transformative time and it makes you feel a little unhinged when it happens.
And certainly does as well, too. And where can we find your book, The Hockey Experiment, all your works at, Ava?
Sure, you can find my stuff at Amazon, of course. I'm in the Kindle Unlimited universe because it's the biggest book universe in the world at the moment. But you could also find it on print at Barnes and Noble.
And we'll certainly check that out. We're here with the multi-talent Ava Miles of The Hockey Experiment here on the Mike Wagner Show. A few more things, Ava. What else can we expect from you in 2025 and beyond?
Sure. Well, I'm going to be finishing the last couple books in the Paris Roommate series. So that'll be super, super exciting. The last few roommates that have yet to be given their stories, Sawyer, Madison, and Kyle, because it's the Paris roommates with their names. And then I'm basically plotting, although like very far along in that, a new I would call it sort of like my take of like Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman meets Outlander,
Nice.
set in the wilds of a small town in Montana where an herbalist returns to her hometown, to a love that had been lost and to a town that needs some serious help. And she's going to sort of fulfill that as an herbalist. So it's going to be quite exciting.
And certainly looking forward to it as well. Who do you consider biggest influence in the career?
My biggest influence in my career. I would say probably it's my best friend, my soul sister, who's an international bestselling author. Her name's Kate Perry. She at her height at Apple was selling like against James Patterson and E.L. James. She's one of Apple's most prolific writers. She went through a horrible divorce over her books and copyright, and she fought it and unfortunately lost it because copyright is not something that protects authors in family law, which I hope all authors go and find out. It's very important that we sort of share that information with each other. But she has managed to just continue to keep her good spirits. She writes wonderful rom-coms as well. And she's funny, she's a good-hearted person, and she's never let her success take away her kindness and her humanity. And I think she's a real spectacular person.
And sounds like it as well. What's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Anyone, I would say follow your heart. Doesn't matter what it is, profession-wise or personal-wise. I think you follow your heart, you're going to be great.
And play and watch hockey. That's another one too. So
there you go. There you go.
That's definite. Yes, we're here with the multi-talented Ava Miles, the author of The Hockey Experiment here on the Mike Wagner Show. Ava, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Laugh, have you back. And what's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your books?
Sure. You can go and go to my website at www.avamiles.com, or you can find me, just look me up as Ava Miles on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. About 60 plus of my books will pop for you. So you'll have a slew of books to choose from.
And the website again?
www.avamiles.com.
And we want everybody to check it out right now. Once again, Ava, very, very thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Laugh, have you back. We wish you all best. And Ava, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Thank you so much, Mike. It was a joy.